Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number. I think this is episode 25. I did not check before to be. Yeah, it's episode 25. Welcome to episode number 25 of the OK Listen Here Roundtable presented by OK Listen Here Media Company. We have just launched our premium content. You can go subscribe to that today for a whopping $5 a month. I am your host, Dawson Haywood, and I am joined today by one of the greatest sports voices that you've yet to hear of on the national scale just yet, Philip Pilkington. Philip, very busy weekend with you covering ECU baseball, but you also have a pretty big week coming up with the Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals. How are we doing today?
I'm good. Got to see Trey Savage pitch against. Um, why am I drawing a blank on Burns' first name right now? Help me out here from Wake Forest. I was going to say Corbin Burns, but he pitches for the Baltimore Orioles. Chase Burns, there's who I was looking for.
There you go.
So getting to see probably the pitching match of the year in college baseball on Saturday was really fun. I'm tired, 7 games in 4 days, and congratulations to Evansville on winning the Greenville Regional and punching their ticket to Knoxville next week and whoop up on those balls.
Yeah, absolutely wild coming out of Greenville. That is did not expect Evansville to come out of, because who else was there? It was y'all, Evansville.
Wake and VCU.
Yeah, would have never imagined that Evansville would have been the one to come out of that region at all. But needless to say, Philip, we know you are working astronomically hard this time of year, but got a lot of vacations planned coming up. So hopefully get to relax a little bit, enjoy yourself some good old Bud Light, since I know that's your favorite beer.
It was at one time. There was a time.
Well, Philip, how about we get into a little bit of NASCAR? Let's ease up, slow down just a little bit, and get into some NASCAR, recapping Sunday's race over at Worldwide Technology Raceway in the Enjoy Illinois 300. And big news coming today. It is June 4th at the time of this recording at 8:01 p.m. But big news coming out today. We have Larson finally getting his waiver. Elton Sawyer, the SVP of competition, came out. They came to the decision stating all communication with Hendrick Motorsports was Charlotte was their priority. That was their day job, Sawyer said. And unfortunately, the weather situation threw them a curveball, threw the industry a curveball, and was something that we had to deal with. But ultimately, the effort that they made without the weather, they were going to be there. We feel confident that that was going to happen. Philip, did NASCAR make the right decision on this?
Yeah, they probably did. I mean, in a way, I feel like you should have went back. You should ran the race. That's your job. But I stand by that. However, 18 months in the making. They put a lot of time and effort into that. And I think NASCAR is being sympathetic for the situation. I mean, they're probably pissed off half of NASCAR fans today. I don't know if I totally agree with it, but we knew it was coming. So
Yeah. They
it
they
is what it
definitely drew
is.
it out a lot further than what they needed to.
Well, I don't know when Hendrick officially submitted the waiver proposal. You gotta submit one. You gotta ask for one. NASCAR doesn't just grant it on its own. So I have no idea when Hendrick actually sent that out. So hey, he's in the playoffs, and the interesting thing right now is if we're to start today, Joey Logano and Kyle Busch would not be in the playoffs. So if we got some time, maybe we'll get into that because those guys are sitting below the cut line now, and even farther below the cut line now that Kyle Larson is back playoff eligible.
Yeah, I think NASCAR did make the right move on this, simply because like Elton Sawyer said, Hendrick Motorsports had stayed in communication with them throughout this whole process, and of course, had the weather not happened the way that it did, he would have been there. The plan was to be there, and of course, you invest that kind of money into something, you don't want to miss out on, the Indy 500. That's a lot of time, effort, energy, and resources to skip out on just not doing. Of course, the 600 is too, but like you said, it is their day job to be here in the NASCAR Cup Series. But at the same time, hey, everyone needs a PTO day every now and then. So I guess that's one way to look at it. And moving forward, I think it, honestly, I'd asked the question last week, would they do this for every other team? And my answer to that is no, I don't think they would. But kind of where it gets a little unfair is, you have your Hendrick Sands. They probably make up maybe 30 to maybe even 40% of all NASCAR fans. And so if you piss them off, you're going to have a huge sum of fans that just lose interest in the rest of the season because Larson can't compete for a championship. So for that reason, I mean, I know it may not be the best reason on planet Earth, but for that reason, I think NASCAR got it right.
Yeah, good point there with the marketing side. We saw how much the TV ratings dropped last year when Chase Elliott didn't make the playoffs, so I like that point.
Yeah. So speaking of things that possibly could do very well for marketing, Teresa Arnhart and DEI are not renewing their DEI number 8 trademark, meaning Dale Earnhardt Jr. Can pursue the ownership of the trademark for DEJ Holdings LLC. And according to the rumor mill, he is currently pursuing that trademark so that he can use that famous number 8 to his own advantage, to his liking. And Teresa, she held on to the rights to the trademark since she took over DEI after Dale Sr.'s death in 2001. Wouldn't let the true Earnhardt family use anything, kept all of those trademarks, and just would not let them go. But Philip, are we excited about this Dale Jr. getting his number 8 back?
Yeah, I am. I mean, obviously, it's just the font of the number that they had trademarked, but wish she would give up the name Intimidator so they could change the roller coaster back and change the minor league baseball team back because they're so synonymous with Earnhardt and the city of
Mm-hmm.
Kannapolis and in North Carolina, and for even though the roller coaster is actually in South Carolina. Because it's on the South Carolina side of the theme park, but they had to do where they had land. But yeah, I mean, nobody likes Teresa. Nobody ever has liked Teresa. Nobody ever will like Teresa. So, um, I mean, it's cool she's giving it back, but who knows how much Earnhardt will use it? I guess he'll use that font maybe now on his Xfinity car, but um, yeah, let's say it'd be really nice if she'd give up the Intimidator.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, which kind of leads me into a little story time here that I'm going to give to you guys. So, the summer right after my freshman year of college, I went and worked for what was then the Kannapolis Intimidators, and I actually was there and sat in on the meeting that they had whenever they had announced to the staff that they were going to completely rebrand the team. And they didn't mention Teresa outright and directly, but they did say, hey, the Intimidator name does not belong to us. We're having to pay royalties to DEI, not Teresa, not calling out Teresa, but we're having to pay out some royalties to DEI. That's revenue that we're missing out on that doesn't go in our pockets. We are a business. We need to think of what's best for us. And moving forward, the best thing that we can do moving forward is to part ways with the Intimidator name. And so then they went through that whole rebranding process and are now known as the Kannapolis Cannonballers, which I'm not saying that I named the new team, but I did say the Kannapolis Cannons would be cool because of Cannon Mills and how it's synonymous with Kannapolis and yada yada. But there's my little story time for you. The team name, the Intimidators, was a minor league team that I grew up going to. Philip, I know you grew up going there, but yeah, the DEI having that name trademarked was definitely a huge reason why the rebranding took place.
So wait, was it that cannons were already one of the options and you voted on it, or did you come up with the cannons idea?
No, so I came up with the cannons idea, and I had texted a
Okay.
few of the guys, and because they did that whole name thing afterwards, after I had already left, but I was still kind of tight with some of the guys there, and I was like, "Yo, y'all should really come up the cannons like that. Just think of what you could do with that." And at the time, I was thinking, you do cannons like do pirate ships and do stuff like that. I don't know, just coming up with ideas, and so I'm not saying that I'm the one that came up with that name. But I will say that I did get the name Cannons chirp in their ear. Whether or not they already had come up with that, and that had a little bit. I'm just saying, I would like to think that had just like a tiny little bit of an influence on why they changed to the Cannons. So
There you
I'm
go.
just going to run with that story and just kind of claim that I had some stake in that name.
There you go. Your mark on minor league baseball history. Hey,
Yep.
man,
There
proud
you
of
go.
you.
Yep. You won't find it anywhere. You won't find any record of it. You will not. Well, maybe if you go back to some of the text messages that I have, you might, but you won't find it in any official books or anything like that. But just a little story that I'll tell my kids one day. So yeah, super happy that this is going back to Dale Jr. Well, I know he's still going through the application process to obtain that trademark, so hopefully he gets it, and I think he'll do right by that number, and hopefully DEI just goes under completely, and DEJ Holdings LLC can completely absorb it and take the Earnhardt name, the Intimidator, everything, and it can be all owned by the rightful owner, Dale Earnhardt Jr. So that's my take.
I got nothing
No
else on
disagreement there. Okay, so let's get into that's kind of the weekly news that I have this week. You got anything in particular that you want to bring up, mention, whatever?
No, not really. Didn't see anything else for weekly news. I mean, there's been a few like announcements, like, "Hey, this guy's going to run another race." There's that point in the season where all the Xfinity and Truck part-time rides that had been announced at the beginning of the year wrapping up, and they're announcing guys for the future, but nothing like huge news. And honestly, kind of been in college baseball hell right now, so I haven't really been keeping up with NASCAR.
Been
Nor
paying
did I
attention.
watch many laps over these past 2 weeks or last weekend.
Yeah, so we'll get moving right along here. Maybe we'll have a short episode today, Philip. But we'll get into the Enjoy Illinois 300. But before that, do want to bring up SVG got his first Xfinity win of the season here at Portland. Locked his way into the playoffs this season. I think we all saw him winning a road course at some point this season, and what better place to do it than Portland? So, congrats to SVG. Do we see him being in an oval race and at during the playoffs? Do we see him being competitive? What do you think? How far do you think he can go?
I don't know. I mean, obviously, it's a learning curve. I wouldn't say he's struggled this year on the ovals, but he hasn't really been a contender. But as the year goes on, he'll grow. Who knows? I mean, I think if it's a track like Martinsville, heavy braking, acceleration, he stands a better chance than an intermediate or a super speedway. But I mean, I don't really think he's going to be a true championship contender, at least right now.
No, absolutely not. How old is SVG?
He's upper 30s. I'll look it up.
Yeah, just because I'm curious to see, especially with Spire getting more charters and they can put him into. Just wondering how long he might stick around and compete at the Cup level. Um, but moving on. Oh, I'm
Born
sorry.
in 89, 35.
Okay, so he might have, if he wanted to, he could have 10 more years.
Yeah.
So but moving on to Worldwide Technology Raceway for the second year in a row. World Just really going to emphasize the name of this speedway here. Worldwide Technology Raceway has internet problems for the second year in a row. Now, it wasn't the problems that they had weren't nearly as bad as they were last year, where what was it, like half the race they couldn't get SMT data or anything up running
Yeah.
and going. Yeah, it was something crazy. But for a few minutes, some teams had some issues communicating, weren't receiving the data that they needed, couldn't communicate to the drivers, what they were seeing on the back end. And so I don't know, just kind of ironic that a speedway called Worldwide Technology Raceway is shitting out on on internet. Like,
Oh, you remember in 2021 in the truck race when they had the long delay because the lights went out on the backstretch because somebody hit a telephone
mm-hmm.
pole on the interstate like
Yep,
2 miles away,
I do
and
remember
it's
that.
like how's there no backup for this? It was like a 45-minute red flag. Oh, it was horrible.
Yeah.
But Haley got her first top 10 that night. So just
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. The mind of Philip Pilkington, remembering random facts that you didn't even think of. But no, like it just
or
it's
do
great.
you care to know?
Well, or nor do you care to know. But hey, that's why we have you on this podcast, is for moments just like this. Um, but yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's crazy to me with with it being called Worldwide Tech. It You would think that it would be some highly advanced, up to date, modern speedway, but no, it tends to be the speedway that has the most issues. Like 3 of the last 4 years, we've had issues with something at some point here, and so I know we're going to Worldwide Technology next year, but I would like to think if something wrong goes on next year, they won't re up their contract with them. Like, I think that would just be ridiculous.
Yeah, or somebody needs to be fired or something. I don't know.
Yeah, big
Somebody
time.
at least needs a scolding.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a good track though. I do enjoy it. I think
Yeah. Oh,
it's
it's a
brought
fantastic
better.
track.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of the one track where it's a short track style, but we haven't seen issues. And I
Mm-mm.
think the biggest reason maybe we haven't seen those issues is we've ran the intermediate package there. And it's really tough on crew chiefs because you have the intermediate rules package, but you kind of have to set up your car for a short track style. And maybe this is something that NASCAR should look at going forward is changing up the rules package more to mimic the intermediate for some of these short tracks. And I know that these straightaways are much longer with it being a 1.25 mile track than you get at Martinsville or Bristol or Richmond. But hey, it's really brought some good racing. I haven't been able to watch it much because it's always the week of regionals, but obviously we had the Chastain Denny thing there a few years back, and it's really been an interesting track. And I used to love to watch trucks there. So who knows? Maybe NASCAR will learn from their successes at a place like Gateway.
Yeah, and one thing I noticed this year is that they seem to learn from last year a little bit, and they didn't have as many braking issues. Or actually, I don't think I saw any brakes explode this weekend.
I
Not that.
did. What happened to Barry? I know Barry kind of did he just cut a tire? Because I
Yeah,
mean, I was in
yeah.
the
I
press
think it
box
was
and it was
something.
muted.
Yeah, it was something so minor. Like I don't think it was brakes or anything ridiculous like that.
Right.
Nothing out of the ordinary. Um, but yeah, brakes seem to hold up a lot better this year. I think teams had a lot of data to build off of last year on how to run the cars better and avoid that situation. So, not that I saw on the broadcast, which of course Fox doesn't fucking show everything. But I didn't see any braking issues. So maybe NASCAR learned from last year. But yeah. Um, so getting a little bit deeper into the race, Larson and not too much going on, but Larson and Kyle Busch kind of got into it a little bit. Larson eventually got loose on the inside of Kyle Busch and ran into him. Took Kyle Busch out of the race. This was one of the races where Busch was really competitive at. He has a win here. I think I'm pretty sure he won last year, but regardless, last Sunday he led 15 laps, and this was because he was taken out. This was his first DNF since the fall Texas race in 2023. Um, One thing that I do kind of want to get into a little bit and get your thoughts on Philip is Kyle Busch. He is having he is riding the struggle bus this season and just not doing good. We saw what he said in that scuffle with Stenhouse. It's like I suck too, not winning anything, yada yada. And he's been very vocal about how frustrated he is about not having the equipment to go compete at a high level anymore. So, how much longer do you see Kyle Busch racing for RCR and in the Cup Series moving forward? Like, I'm not sitting here saying that he should retire. Obviously, he's got the talent to be, but will that opportunity ever open up for him again to where he can kind of make a comeback and put himself in a competing position?
Yeah, it's frustrating for him, of course, but he won what 3 races, I believe it was last year. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me. I know it was more than it was at least 2. I want to say it was 3, maybe even 4. So look, and that was with RCR. So right, they can have speed. They're not the only big team right now that's not having speed. Yes, he's 20 points below the cut line. That stinks. Well, only 6 points ahead of him, 14 points below the cut line, is Joey Logano. And Penske has won the 2 championships in this Gen 7 era, including one with Joey Logano back in 2022. So look, he's got every right to be frustrated. He's not used to crap equipment, right? I mean, he starts his career at Hendrick, he goes to Gibbs, and now this is clearly the worst equipment he's ever had. But look, struggle buses are a thing. And if you go back to previous Charlotte and the 20 team, they were on a struggle bus. They were down there below the cut line as well. And the win did actually put them above the cut line, not only because they won, but in points. And they were very honest about it. They didn't make any excuses. They didn't say, well, if this would have happened and that would have happened or wouldn't have happened. They said, no, look, the bottom line is we're in a downward spiral and it's on us to get it figured out. So I think it is on, him and Adam Stevens to kind of, or is Adam Stevens still his crew chief? No, he's not because he's still with Gibbs. Anyways, drawing a blank. Whoever is crew chief, Randall Burnett, that's who it is. It's on him and Randall Burnett and all the guys to figure it out. And look, yeah, I mean, I know it's tough, but quit making excuses, look in the mirror, and figure it out. Look, you're a 2-time champion. You're arguably the greatest that ever was. And time to get it figured out, big boy. You're 14 points below the cut line. Find your way into the playoffs and then let them all play out.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, we're heading into the back half of the season, yeah, the back stretch of the season, if you will, or the front. Yeah, never mind, that didn't hit like I thought it would. But I
You were trying
mean,
to make a pun and you
yeah, I
failed.
was. I felt miserably. My bad. But yeah, so I mean, we still have a long season to go, and it. As much as I don't like Kyle Busch right now, it is fun whenever he's winning and whenever he's competitive. And kind of sucks to see him in this position, but I think that is part of the fun that he's struggling. Maybe we have a little comeback season for him at the last half of this year as we, um, now move on from Fox and into NBC. Thank God, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But who knows? Maybe he can pick things up and take some things from this last little stretch, which has been tremendously frustrating and win a few races moving forward.
I get now. I'm good.
Yep. All right. So, um, Christopher Bell, spent a little time on him, who clearly had the best car all day, but his engine gave out coming down to the wire. He won both stages, and he was able to finish the race thanks to Martin Truex Jr., who kind of pushed him around the track for 23 laps. And at the time, Truex was 3 laps down. Uh, he would finish seventh place, but I went and did a little bit of digging, and his engine didn't like completely implode on itself. It just kind of crapped out there, and he lost power, and it wasn't running like a race car. It was running like your grandmother's Honda Civic. But I
My grandma drives a CRV, not a Civic.
Oh, sorry, like your grandma's CRV.
Okay.
But I couldn't find any word as to like what happened to cause the engine to give out like it did. But what I do know is that it wasn't completely shot. There was just something crazy that went on that just caused it to lose power, and somehow he managed to, with the help of his teammate Truex, he was able to go on and finish the race in seventh. So, what do you think about Truex pushing him around the track like that? Should that be allowed, or should they have to finish the race on their own power?
I mean, he's finishing it to an extent, right? I mean, it's clearly if Truex was just pushing them, they'd be not even making NASCAR minimum speed. If they can make NASCAR minimum speed together, Truex is multiple laps down. It is what it is. I mean, yeah, was it probably the biggest teammate move since Cal Naughton tried to put the non-existent fire out of Ricky Bobby at Charlotte back in the mid 2000s? Yes, it was. And in the words of DW, that's a teammate right there. So yeah, I mean, it kind of look at the end of the day, they did it for 23 laps, not like they did it for 2 laps. So clearly, he had some power. It sucked to see it because we were about to be in for one heck of a finish.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he had fresher tires there than Ryan Blaney, and part of the reason Blaney ran out of gas was because Truex was pushing him so hard and forcing him to run that high line in both corners as he was trying to stay away because he got the best drive off in doing so and navigating lap traffic there down the stretch. And this race had everything you want to have, right? It had a couple wrecks, big guys including in those things, and then it had late race strategy where the Penske guys stayed out the end of stage two, and it was, hey, look, this guy's the best guy on strategy A, this guy's the best guy on strategy B, and who's going to win the race. It kind of took you back to the spring Richmond race in 2022 with Denny Hamlin and William Byron. So, hey, it made it great. It stinks his car broke. I know I kind of went off on a tangent there, didn't totally answer your question, but I'm okay with it. Like I said, I mean, they lasted 23 laps, so clearly it was faltering, but, and, the argument would be, well, Truex is hurting his chances. But, I mean, obviously 3 laps down, who cares at that point? But, hey, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of those points where, come playoffs, Christopher Bell, of course, like I said, was the clear cut winner of this race had his car not completely crapped out on him. So I think there may come a point in playoffs where if he's not in the final four, people start asking, okay, what if he had won that race at Worldwide Technology Gateway? So I don't know. I'm excited to see that discourse come playoffs. But moving along, the ending of this race, it wasn't in Atlanta, where we had a 0.003 second finish. It wasn't the other race that had a 0.001 second finish. But the finish was exciting nonetheless. Ryan Blaney, like Philip said, was in a position to win with less than 2 laps to go. But right there, just before he crossed the line to get to the white flag, he ran out of gas, which allowed for Cindric to take the lead and Cindric would eventually run away with it and go on to win the race. A lot of stars had to line for that to happen for him, but this would give Penske their first win of the season, and Cindric would snap an 85 race winless streak. His last win was in his first race as a full-time Cup driver in the 2022 Daytona 500. So, like you said, strategies for Penske this past weekend were astronomical. It would have shocked me if one of them didn't come out on top, especially once Seabell crapped out a little bit. But good for Cindric for pulling it off. Good for Penske for pulling it off. And yeah, do you like this finish? Do you like Cindric winning, and now he's in? He's going to compete in playoffs. And how well do you think he does in playoffs?
Yeah, I don't know. He was good his rookie year, got that win, and then drove better and had the sophomore slump, and now here he is in his third year, and he hasn't been great. But we saw at Ricky Stenhouse Jr. last year how good he was once he had that win, and just how more fluent he was. But I would
I
expect him to
appreciate
be
you for
kind
saying
of
that.
of course, I would expect him to be kind of uncompetitive in the playoffs. You never know. Like, right? Remember, what was it last year? No, 2 years ago. Chase Briscoe won at Phoenix early in the season, did not have a good rest of the regular season, and still made the round of eight. So you never know. But this kind of reminds me of going back to 2020 with William Byron, who was also in his third season. He got his first career Cup Series win in the regular season finale at Daytona, and that's what put him into the playoffs, edging out Jimmy Johnson in his final Cup Series season. Or no, this might have been 2019. I don't know, whatever year it was. Yeah, no, it was 20. It was definitely
If
20.
anyone's going to
Okay,
remember
sorry.
between the two
And
of us, it's going to be
yeah,
you.
yeah, it was 20. And Byron, struggled in the playoffs. I believe was eliminated in the first round, but it was a good playoff experience for him. Obviously, Cindric already has the playoff experience getting there his rookie year, but he was also still driving a lot of tracks in those playoffs that he had never driven before. So, being his third year, we'll see what happens. But congratulations, and 2 career wins through 2.5 years. Not too bad.
Yeah, and then to round off the Enjoy Illinois 300, do want to give a huge shout out to Carson Hocevar, who had his career best finish in the Cup Series, finished 8th place this past weekend. So, congrats to Hocevar, who I will still sit here and until it happens, will still say that he is a future Cup Series champion. Super high on him. So this is just 8th place is a good place to build off of, and we can only go up from here. Well, I mean, I guess we can go down, but
You can go down.
you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah, yeah.
But
He's been running well.
yeah, but Philip, who you tipping your cap to this week? We're getting a tipping your cap and shaking your head.
Well, Well, I tip my cap to a guy that did already have one win in his career, but he did not have one as a full-time driver and none in the Xfinity Series. Congratulations to the Kiwi, Shane Van Gisbergen, on his first career win as a full-time Cup Series driver or Xfinity Series
Xfinity.
driver and punching his ticket to the playoffs.
Yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun. I enjoy watching the Kiwi, and hold on, I'll see if I can do it. But like, I'll run around the house on Saturdays just going Shane Van Gisbergen, like just all day. It annoys the piss out of my wife, but it's hilarious.
You annoy a pregnant woman. You're terrible. She's got enough
Yeah.
hormones going on.
Hey, sometimes she feeds off of it. Sometimes she'll run around and
Sure.
Shane Van gets big, and we feed off each other. So
There you go.
that being said, I'm going to be tipping my cap to Christopher Bell and Joe Gibbs Racing. They built an absolute rocket, at Gateway, and Bell was clearly the winner until he wasn't, and that race was his. And but despite the engine issues, they ended up pulling the top 10 out of their ass, and good for JGR and Christopher Bell to finish that day strong. So that is who I'm tipping my cap to. Who are you shaking your head at?
Oh, first off, I feel like if you and Sydney are going around doing Shane Van Gisbergen together, it sounds like something that Michael Scott and Holly would have done together if they had
Oh,
all their weird sayings.
hang
Is
on.
how you.
Entertain the people.
Oh goodness.
Wife.
Well,
Wife.
to kill the dead air, I will just sit here and talk. I can announce a Rockies Reds game for
Oh,
you.
never mind.
That was an out. Actually, I have no idea who hit the ball or who the right fielder
Never,
was, so it
never
would be
mind.
terrible announcing.
Nothing.
So we're not going to do that. But, anyways, I think Dawson is going to get Sydney right
No,
now.
I
See if she
was, but
actually shows up.
if we were just only a podcast and no longer putting
Yeah.
these on YouTube, I would have got her in here. But she's currently wrapped up in the tower right now. and I'm not about to pull
Uh,
her in here. So,
yeah,
but I was
I
gonna
think
have her do it.
we've seen, social media has already shown us enough this week with that Edmonton Oilers fan, so everybody's already posted on
Ah,
social media.
Philip, how many times have you watched that video?
I don't know how many ever times it's just casually popped up. I've not gone out of my way to watch
You're crazy if you haven't. I went out of my way and I showed Sydney. I was like, "Hey,
it.
look at this." She's like,
Well, I've
"Huh,
gone out of my way to probably just show people,
huh."
but
But
I showed
yeah,
my roommate,
I
showed Thomas the
I
other day or
thoroughly
earlier.
enjoyed that video. And if you don't enjoy that video, there's something mentally wrong with you. So
Yeah. Oh, but shaking my head, yeah, I think I already see your notes here. Same thing. You build a rocket ship and it breaks with
mm-hmm,
23 laps to go. I mean, I'm sure I would come up with somebody else if I was able to watch the other races closely.
mm-hmm.
Other than that, I guess Mother Nature, because watching a truck race and Xfinity race at the same time is just not right.
Oh yeah, that
NASCAR
was
fans should not flip back and forth. It's not the NFL. Should not
no.
be two on at the same time.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. So yeah, as Phil said, my shaking my head was Joe Gibbs Racing. You build a rocket, how the hell you let the engine fail like that? I have absolutely no idea. So shaking my head to Joe Gibbs Racing, despite tipping my cap to him this week. But we'll get into a little Sonoma preview. I guess the biggest news heading into this race is finally we get released from the clamps of Fox for the duration of the season after this race. This is the last time of this shit ass broadcasting that we have been getting. We finally get to move on. So
Go team.
go team. Philip, what you got on the entry list for this week?
Sorry, I did not have it pulled up.
Oh,
But as I'm scrolling down to it, I do know there are 39 entries for a 38 race car field on Saturday. And those include Alex LeBay in the 07, Andreas
who
Perez
is
in the
that? Who
14.
is that? You're I have no idea
Do
who
you know?
these
I mean,
people
if
are.
I go through who every guy is, we're gonna be Andreas Perez is leading the ARCA points right now. Watching ARCA
Ah,
race.
gotcha.
Or no, oh sorry, it's Brad Perez. I'm just sitting here looking because Parker tweets out the top the last name, so it's Brad Perez who has ran some part-time stuff in the Xfinity Series
Gotcha.
before. Alex LeBay is a former full-time driver. He's always been competitive on road courses. Ty Gibbs, I think you know who he is. He'll be in the 19. John Hunter will be in the 20. Eric Jones in the 26. A Green. I have no Austin Green in the 32. Sage Karam in the 35. Preston Pardis in the 50. And for the final time in a NASCAR National Series race, driving the number 17, Hendrick.com's or HendrickCars.com Chevrolet for Rick Hendrick Racing will be Boris Said. So that is the Xfinity Series entry list. Cup Series entry list has 38 entries, so 2 open. The 15, which has been a rotating seat all year, will be Kaz Grala. The Dinger will be in the 16. In the 33, that is a third RCR car, will be Will Brown. And in the 60, which is an RFK car, will be Cam Waters. Both of those guys, I believe, are sports car racers.
Hmm. Interesting. I'm always whenever the Dinger hops on a road course, it always makes for an entertaining day. So we'll have to see how that pans out. So moving on to my super pointless facts that you want to have, but since 2021, Daniel Suarez, Martin Truex Jr., and Kyle Larson have all won at Sonoma. Ross Chastain and Chase Elliott are the only two drivers to have finished in the top 10 in the last 3 races. So place your bets now. Those are probably 2 very safe ones. Chase Elliott has the best average finishing position since 2021 with an average finishing position of 5.0, followed up by Chris Buescher, Chastain, Logano, Larson, and Martin Truex Jr. Since the last 3 years, Kyle Larson has led the most laps here at Sonoma, and that is followed by Martin Truex Jr. and Daniel Suarez, and I don't have those numbers pulled up because I suck. Now, if we're looking at all time, obviously you're going to get a little bit of Kyle Busch here, maybe some Truex, maybe some no Hamlin here. Interesting. But of our current drivers, Chase Elliott has the best average finishing position at 12.1. I believe that is through 7 races. Truex has 4 wins here, which is the most of all current drivers, followed by Kyle Busch, who has 2, which I found interesting that, I mean, I know it's not that big of a gap, but that there was that big of a gap between
Wait, what would you say? Hang on. I was looking at something else. What did you say before the beginning of that?
Chase Elliott has the best average finishing position all time,
With what?
12.1.
Oh, and then you said there was a gap. Was that what you were talking about? The gap was back to? Were you talking about wins?
I was talking about wins. Yeah, Truex has 4 wins. Kyle Busch has 2. I was surprised that there
Okay,
wasn't someone that had
so
like 3.
Jeff Gordon has 5, and
I'm talking.
Tony
I'm
Stewart
talking.
has
I'm
4.
talking. I'm talking to current
Oh,
drivers. Current drivers.
okay.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
yeah, current drivers. Yeah, I was shocked that there wasn't someone that had like 3. Truex is, it takes 2 more races at Sonoma to catch up with him. Um, and then of the current list of drivers, Truex has led the most laps all time at with 264. So there's kind of your little preview on my end. But is there anything else interesting that you want to pinch in there, salt bay it up a little bit for this preview?
Yeah, just the Gen 7 car. It's been a different kind of players when it comes to the front of road courses. It seems like in the Gen 7 car than it was in the Gen 6. I mean, some of the guys have been the same, but for example, Chase Elliott, who is the active NASCAR's active winningest road course racer with 7 wins, has not won a Gen 7 race. So it's going to be, when does that come? If does it ever come? And obviously, we have more road courses on the schedule than we've had in the past. Or we're down to 5 this year. Now the Indy road course is gone, but still, historically it's 2 in NASCAR. So that's one thing to look at. Does that come? But at the end of the day, how do these sports car guys do that are making their first Cup Series starts? Historically, not well. First Cup Series start. Shane Van Gisbergen last year um, showed them all the way around the streets of Chicago in a monsoon. So you never know, but I think there's plenty of storylines with new guys, with different guys. The repave, how is that going to affect the cars? Obviously, the newest surface that NASCAR's ever seen here with these bigger wheels, smaller tires, and bigger brakes package. So because I don't even know the last time it was repaved, but it was not in the Gen 7 era, obviously, until this year. There were some issues with the track back in April after the repave. It has since been ran on multiple times, and they think they've got everything good. They're going back to the third straight year now of doing what was the original configuration. Then there for a few years, they went to the weird one where they drove the carousel. So they are staying back with the original configuration for the third straight year. So we'll see what happens. But road course races are always fun. They are having stage cautions this week, so
Thank
just things
God.
to keep in mind.
Thank God. I hated whenever they didn't have stage cautions at road courses, but thank God. Um, I do kind of want to get in on a little new segment here. Um, Philip, you don't have to participate, but I'm going to, and it'll
All
be
right.
quick. But something that I've been doing the last 3 weeks just to kind of make things fun. I have bet on one guy to be my winner, and then I will parlay 3 guys to finish in the top 10. And so each week moving forward, if you will so have me, I want to pick 3 guys that I have that will finish in the top 10 that I think are going to be good, safe bets. And so I'll start that right now. So, first and foremost, I'm going to go with Chase Elliott. He has good times here, good races here, so I think he's a good safe pick. Next up, I want to go with Daniel Suarez. This is a guy who doesn't finish in the top 10 all the time, but this is a track that he is good at, and if there is ever a time for him to compete well at, it's now. And then of course, going to go with a real safe bet, stick with Martin Truex Jr. So those are my three. Those are my 3 picks, and then for my winner this week, I'm going to go with, you know what? I think I'm going to go with William Byron this week.
There you go. I like it.
So that will lead us into the backstretch challenge now that you know the 4 drivers that I kind of like. That'll lead us into the backstretch challenge. Maybe I should move this whole parlay thing to after the backstretch challenge. But let's go
Yeah, I'm
over
not going to pick your guys based off what you're saying.
but let's go over Worldwide Technology Raceway, where I had Blaney, Truex, Bush, Hamlin, and in my garage I had Byron, which thank God I had him. And Philip, you had Elliott, Larson, Logano, Gibbs, and in your garage you had Bowman, who did nothing for you. And Philip, you beat me 9.75 to 18.75. None of us had a winner this week. And this was my worst week picking. And between the two of us, it was the worst week of picking, period. So, congrats, you no longer hold that title. But you do lead the series now
No,
9
I
6
had a
and
way
1.
worse week at
Did you?
Darlington. Yeah, average 23 is my finishing
Oh,
position
God,
that
did you
week.
for real?
Yeah,
I'm trying to
23.5.
Oh shit, I see. Never mind. Okay, so you still hold that title. Haha, sucks to suck.
Yep. So who
But
you keeping?
all right. So who am I keeping this week? Well, I have Truex, and Truex is one of the guys that I am very, very high on. So I'm gonna keep Truex. And then let's see. Blaney, Bush, Hamlin, Byron. I'll keep Hamlin. Why not?
You pick Byron to win the race, and you're not keeping him. That makes sense.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna keep Larson and Chase.
Damn it. All right. You want to pick one or pick 2 and 3?
You get to choose which one you want to do because you lost. So do you want to pick one or back to back?
I'll let you do pick one. I'll go back to back.
All right, give me Byron then.
Oh, God damn it.
I'll go with 300 drivers.
All right. So that leaves me with. I'm going to stick with my guns here. I'm going to go Suarez. And then. You know what? Give me Blaney. I'll take Blaney.
Well, it's a road course, so I want the dinger.
I'm literally
And I
writing
will
down
have
the
Tyler
dinger.
Reddick
Ah,
in
damn
my
it.
garage.
All right. Well, I'm going to slap him in my garage again this week. Give me Christopher Bell.
Hey, he got his first career win on a road course.
Did he?
He did.
Well.
The Daytona road course.
Well, maybe he'll come in handy this week. Maybe Suarez will spin out
Yeah,
or something.
2021.
But all right. So that sets our lineup for this week with, for me, Truex, Hamlin, Suarez, Blaney, Bell. For Phil, Larson, Elliott, Byron, the Dinger, and Reddick. So perfect. Phil is still up 3 races to my. Wait. Philip is still up to. Philip, I'm tired. Philip is up 9-6.
I've won 9 times. He's won 6 times.
There we go. Thank you. All right. Well, we're keeping this episode real short today and just moving right along because we are now at the point of the podcast where Philip and I, we try to stump each other's brains a little bit and we do some weekly trivia. We have 3 different trivia questions that we ask each other every week. Sometimes they're related to the track. Other times they're not. Sometimes they're just related to just random shit. So, Philip, do you got some questions for me this week or do you want me to go first?
I'll throw you one.
Okay.
In the Gen 7 era, we have now ran 13 road course races.
Okay.
Who are the only 2 drivers to have multiple wins?
Shit. Dude, my brain is totally blanking. Is Truex one of them?
No, he is not.
No, he is not. Okay, Elliott has got to be one.
I just told you earlier that
You just
Elliott
told
has
me
not
no.
won a single race in the Gen 7
Damn,
car.
in the Gen 7 car. Huh. That's a tough one. Final answer before I have you give me the answer. I'm going to go Hamlin and Bush. No, wait! Larson. Larson is one of them.
No.
Fuck. Byron.
No. Yes.
Okay. Hold on. I'm getting somewhere. And Logano.
No.
Son of a bitch.
There's a reason I took these 2
And
drivers.
AJ Allmendinger.
No.
Damn it.
Even though I know you had one of them picked to win in Byron. I can't remember who you said you had in your top 10, but I did take him as my garage driver, Tyler Reddick.
Great. Thanks for stumping me. All right. Well, You kind of answered this one earlier, but I have it written down, so I'm going to ask you anyways. Who has the most wins at Sonoma, and how many races has he won?
Jeff Gordon with 5, including each of the first 3 in 98, 99, and 2000.
There you go. All right. What's question number 2 for me?
All right, mister. I'm an Oklahoma fan.
Okay.
Oklahoma has won the last 3 college softball World Series.
Hold on.
Obviously.
Before you go any further, I just want to give a huge shout out to me and my wife because since we've been together, Oklahoma has not lost a college World Series. So,
my goodness.
Just throwing that out
Women's
there.
College World Series.
Women's College World Series.
Okay. So they've won the last 3 Women's College World Series. Obviously, in 2020, it got canceled.
Mm-hmm.
Who is the last team not named Oklahoma to win a Women's College World Series?
It's Florida.
It is not Florida.
Is it not Florida? Well, I know Florida won
Florida
one.
has not won since 2015.
I want to say Florida knocked out Oklahoma one year, though.
They did that year, I
Yeah.
think. I'm pretty sure
I
Florida
think
lost to this
that's
team that year.
correct. Yeah. Oh God.
Let
So
me go back to that.
2000, 2000.
19.
Yeah, because COVID.
Oh, no, I take that back. Oklahoma did make the finals that year.
Which
They
year?
lost to this team. So what?
I'm trying to think. Fuck. You got to understand that I became a true Oklahoma fan whenever me and my wife started dating. I'm trying to think of some programs. It's not LSU. That's last year's baseball.
I'll give you a hint that will help that will not give it away.
Okay.
Oklahoma has played them in the Women's College World Series already once this year. I think once. I know they played at least once. I don't remember who else played too because I've been really busy, but I do know they played since getting to Oklahoma City.
Okay. I'm totally blanking. It's not Duke.
Now, Duke is 0-2 all-time wins college world. They've only had a program for 7 years, not Duke.
That goes to show how much I pay attention. I pay attention more if the games weren't in the middle of the day.
This team has won more men's college basketball national championships than any other team.
Than any other team?
Yes.
Oh, UCLA. Sorry. I knew that. I knew that. Because I watched that game. And they said that right there. The past 4 women's. Okay, I'm stupid. I'm sorry. Look, it's not that I didn't know. It's just that my brain could not remember. Okay, I knew that.
All righty.
All right. So, my next question for you is who won the first NASCAR race at Sonoma? And bonus points if you can tell me what year it was.
I already told you that it was Gordon in 98. I literally said that during the last answer.
Wait, then what the fuck did I read? I read somewhere that it was.
Right?
I read somewhere that it was. Can I tell you what I think the answer is? Now I could be wrong. I have Ricky Rudd in '89.
Are they running back then?
I think so. Yeah. Hold on. Now I got to go check it out. Just fact check myself because I've been wrong before.
I've been wrong before too, but I could have sworn. You're right. The Cup Series did start there in '89, so I guess it was Ricky Rudd.
Okay. Yeah. So hey, there we
For some
go.
reason, I thought Gordon had won the first 3. You got me on that one.
Yeah, there we go. Something Philip did not know. Philip learned you something today. Yeah. Oh, hang on.
Yeah.
The Chicago White Sox and the Chicago Cubs game just proceeded. I guess they were on a rain delay. White Sox are up 5-0. I bet on the Cubs in a parlay today. Stupid me. All right. Anyways, Philip, what's your next question for me?
Did they go away and come back? I'm just curious. No, they didn't. I don't know. I don't know where I got that from.
Hey, we stumped you. We stumped you today. That's why we have this segment. Because every now and then we get Philip on something that he doesn't know. There's not a lot that Philip doesn't know. The dude is a walking sports thesaurus. That is the thesaurus, that encyclopedia. Sorry, that's what I meant. He's a walking sports encyclopedia.
All right. 2 years ago at Sonoma, who qualified their truck first on the pole while doing it with a broken foot?
2 years ago?
Yeah.
He
did break it at Gateway the week before.
Fuck, I'm trying to think of. Oh, was it Hocevar?
It was Hocevar.
There we go. There we go. All right. And final question for you today, Philip. What was Byron's best finish at Sonoma? Bonus questions if you can tell me what year he had his best finish.
Oh, I do not know
Ooh,
that.
got a little specific there for you.
Um, he's not historically been great there.
I will give you. I'll give you a range of 3. So, like, if you want to do like, I'm just saying this number. If you want to do like 67 to 69, so 3 numbers.
Okay. I want to say it's between like 8th and 10th.
Okay, you're pretty spot on. His best finish at Sonoma was in 2020, where he finished in 9th place.
Okay. Now
Yep.
my guess was my true guess was 8th. And I could not remember what year it was.
Yeah, you were
Hey,
close.
yeah, you're right. Ricky Rudd won the first race in '89. Rusty Wallace, Davey Allison, Ernie Irvin, Jeff Bonine. Okay, yep,
There you
I was
go.
way off.
All right. Well,
I do not know
thanks for
where
fact
I,
checking me.
for some reason, thought
Whenever
he
you start
started
fact
in.
checking me, I start questioning
I
myself.
know. Wait, what? Ah, that's what it was. It was the first year they extended it to 350 kilometers. Was
Mm,
98, and Gordon
what the
really
fuck is a
started running at
kilometer?
100,000 meters
What is a meter? All I know is feet, inches.
at 39 inches. It's 2.5 laps around a running track. So yeah, when they changed it to the 350, um,
Jeff
for the
Gordon
first
took it
time,
away.
yeah, that's when Gordon. Okay, so I see. I knew that I wasn't totally going nuts. I was just the race used to be shorter and they made it longer, and that's when Gordon started winning.
There
See,
you go. All right. What is your also before we move on, I did do my research just in case you asked me. Stenhouse's best finish was 12th, and that came last year. So just know that sometimes I do come prepared because sometimes I know you will ask the same exact question I asked you. So I come prepared sometimes. So
yeah,
there you go. What's your
I've already
third?
asked you my three, haven't I?
Oh,
Yeah, because I asked you who are the two drivers
oh,
to win
okay.
2 races. I asked you the Oklahoma question, and then I asked you the Hosabar question.
Oh, sweet. Well, there you go. There you have it. Episode number 25 of the OK Listen Here Roundtable NASCAR edition. Tomorrow night, we are doubling down, going back to back podcasting nights. Last night, we couldn't get to it, but we are going back to back. Tomorrow night, we have got a very, 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 very special guest joining us. Philip will be on for tomorrow's episode as well with me. So if you guys are ready for a super fun interview, one that Philip and I have been probably dying to do since about 2016. Tune into tomorrow's
Yeah,
episode. It's going to be an absolute banger. So
yeah, it's gonna be fun. I just gotta like write down the stuff that like I probably shouldn't ask. Not I mean, okay, I say that like we did like illegal stuff. We didn't, but I'm just like, man, is there some stuff that within the brotherhood we want to keep it within the
yeah, we want to keep
brotherhood and not
together.
and not put out so that like there's some stuff I feel like only I just like I said, full disclosure, nothing we did not do anything wrong. Nobody got hazed or anything. I mean, freshmen had to carry pads, but nothing crazy. I'm just like, man, is there anything we don't want to admit just because it's kind of like we just keep
Little
it that
out
way,
there, a little out there.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and definitely during our time, there's definitely some very questionable things that, again, not illegal, but had it been posted online, it probably would have been like, "What the hell are these guys doing?"
Yeah, that's kind of what it was like. And it was not with the person who's being
No, absolutely
interviewed,
not.
not that
No.
person. It was more with us and the
Uh
fact
huh.
that, they probably didn't report us
Yeah,
for
just
doing some of
turned
the
up
stuff we did.
blind. Oh, dude,
Didn't kick us off the team.
there were so many instances where I could have been expelled, suspended, something. But hey, I have my diploma now. I have my degree now. You can't take those away from me. So suck it. but
We
yes,
just cancel you.
yeah. Well, you can't cancel me. I'm uncancelable.
Oh, okay. We'll see.
You can't cancel me if I don't give a fuck.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm starting to get a little more bold here recently with some of the audience. So go ahead and try it, see how that works out for you. But regardless, thanks you guys for tuning in. If you're still listening up to this point, we greatly appreciate you listening to us just yammer on. Philip looks like he's ready for some sleepy time. I know I've been talking like
Yeah, I'm
I'm ready for
exhausted.
some sleepy time too, but we're gonna get this podcast wrapped up. Keep it under an hour for you guys today. So appreciate you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys tomorrow.